Here we go.
What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show, the home of Epic Conversations, and I'm the host of Epic Conversations, 2020 Best Podcast News Award winner, and 2018 Innovation Award winner given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. I also co-host and co-produce the only online show in the world for dads and fathers. It's sponsored by Dove Men Plus Care. And in 2022 and 2021, that team, which I'm still a part of, reached out directly and indirectly to over 100,000 fathers around the world. So as always, I like to say you're blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. We're broadcasting live on December 10th, and it's Black Canada Talking. And what's Black Canada Talking all about? It's an live online event that provides Black Canadians the opportunity to give their takes and POVs on stories that are important to them. So we have a few things before we get to having our friend as usual on. Let's talk about this. Subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show by hitting the button on YouTube and hitting the notification button so you get notified when we have our conversations. Also, make sure you follow the Dr. Vibe Show on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. Also, if you'd like to promote your business or service on the Dr. Vibe Show or any of the platforms that I host, please feel free to email me at dr@thedrvibeshow.com. So without further ado, let's bring up our regular contributor on Black Canada Talking, Cesar Ndema-Moussa. What is up, Cesar?
Hi, Dr. Vibe. I'm good. Thank you. Hi, everybody. Thanks for being here with us.
Good stuff. What have you been up to recently?
Dr. Vibe, work, family, looking after one another, notably when the health is not at the very best. And as new parents, it also means juggling, supporting one another to be there 100% for our little ones. So, yeah.
Well, little one that's now growing one.
She is indeed, and she is assertive.
Well, I would expect her to be nothing less than that if she is a child of yours or in your presence. So that's fantastic. And I'm speaking that you will have better health in the near future. Both you and mother have better health in the near future. So let's get right to it. So we've got, as usual, great conversation topics and topics, some that probably 2 out of the 3 I didn't really have any idea, and that's why I bring Cesar to the platform, because she educates, entertains, enlightens, and empowers us Black people and those who love them. So let's start off with something I didn't even know. COP28. What's COP28 in climate? I didn't even know anything about this. So kick it off, Cesar.
Well, it's basically COP28 refers to the 28th Global Summit on the Environment, in terms of, from the United Nations, but also European Union, United States, China, Russia and India, and the United Nations, etc. But more and more, and this is basically the particularities here in terms of why we're talking about COP28 and the importance of this conversation here. It's basically the fact that, here in Canada, we've seen forest fires. We hear about floodings, notably in Europe, but we hear about from earthquakes to, so many environmental issues that we hear about, but we don't hear as much about what's happening in countries of the South. Basically, countries that are the least responsible for the degradation of the environment in the world. Now, I already see some people coming, aka climato-skeptics, people who do not believe or agree on the notion of climate change and what's called the Holocene, the Holocene period extinction, aka the degradation of the environment, notably the extinction of animal species due to human intervention. but it is a fact that what's called the global south, aka in geopolitical affairs, the groups notably called the G77 and China. So the global south, aka non developed countries, non Western countries, uh, Western plus China, plus Japan, Australia, you see Israel, countries that are not the polluting countries, countries that didn't take part into this industrial age, notably polluting with coal and also green gases. They're the ones who are getting the shorter change. Meanwhile, the so-called developed countries are the ones that are polluting the most, and polluting the most. America, the USA, and China are the number two polluters. So COP28 has come, first of all, with criticism from the start, as it was being held, if I'm correct, in Dubai or UAE. Yeah, Dubai is in UAE actually. Yeah. So it was being held there, and notably the president, Sultan Al Jaber, is head of an oil producing company. So you're talking about the environmental summit, and the head is already it's already a controversy. But something that has come out with, how can I put it, some applause but also criticism is the notion of loss and damage fund, in terms of like a pool. It's basically like a pool where richer countries would put in money to help, um, to pay for damages due to environmental climate issues that impact more southern countries. So, to give you an example, Canada, as a rich country, would not get money because of predictable forest fires, while a country such as Zimbabwe, that was notably flooded, would get some money. But of course, the start of the problem, as in anything when we talk about money, who controls the money? The IMF, United States. It's the polluters who control the money. This is already a start of the problem. And at the same time, in terms of COP28, is the fact of a lot of the countries of the South are decrying that the measures have not gone far enough. Before I forget, and I will pause here, Dr. Vibe, allow me to pay tribute to a great lady of Black consciousness, African liberation, and women empowerment. The Kenyan politician, Mrs. Wangari Maathai. She was the 2004 Nobel Peace Prize for the Green Belt movement, which notably was to address environmental issues and kind of like, tackle it from the ground, kind of like, just as we do, but environmental activists, because, you know, when you have a degradation of the environment, notably in a poor country, or let's say in a overly exploited country, what does that create? It creates internal refugees, and refugees will leave their countries and notably die on the Mediterranean to reach Europe if they're not enslaved in Northern Africa. You have a rise of poverty, which also coincides with a rise of criminality. You have more political instability, and political instability goes along social instability. We're talking here about, yes, crime, but we're talking also about rape. We're talking about an increase in terms of notably sexually transmitted diseases. We're talking about broken homes, etc., etc. I think, and this is something that I've addressed for already a few years, and I've said it, I remember very well at a debate in Montreal. Pan Africanism of the 21st century cannot be real, cannot be concrete without talking more and more about the environment. This is not about Greta Thunberg. Obviously, I don't look like her. This is not about how do you call that, writing some popular topic, because truthfully, notably in the black community, the environment is not a popular topic. I mean, I don't hear black people coming to say that the pastor or the priest or the imam was telling them about the importance of the environment. So, but we have to recognize the importance of addressing environmental issues, because as we are talking more and more about climate change, as we are witnessing more and more, and I give a simple example, people in Southern Canada impacted people in the United States. I mean, we heard about how Chicago was, impacted by the forest fires from Canada. So we have to remember it is people in the countries of the South that will be the most impacted, and this will notably create millions. It's already confirmed it will happen. So this is not, I am not some prophet of the apocalypse or whatever one can think about it. I'm not paid. I'm not paid by some international firm, whether someone wants to start thinking Pfizer, the United Nations, whatever you want to call it. But it's already confirmed there will be millions of climate refugees, and the reason they will come is because of the destabilization of the countries due to political and economic decisions in northern, western, richer, developed countries. We have to address the environment. It's a matter of human rights. It's a matter of human dignity. It's a matter of Pan Africanism.
It's interesting now, as you were beginning to talk about, I have been hearing some reports about this conference, and the gentleman who was, I guess, the chair of the conference, he also represents oil interests. So people are saying, like, what's the use of this conference? It's all optics, because at the end of the day, big oil companies are going to make sure that nothing goes too far. Is that a correct assumption?
That is a very correct assumption. And of course, Sultan Al Jaber, and we have to be fair also here. Um, I don't throw all my criticism against him. Yeah, he's the head of an oil company, but guess what? If but people still showed up, people still went ahead. So how are you gonna blame him? How many people will refuse attending an international conference of a couple of days in Dubai? I don't know anyone who would. So he also said something in terms of how do you call that? You have to compose with fossil fuels in terms of finance rate. It is
Yes.
not. It is not, and he's not entirely wrong. I truly hate to say this. It is how reasonable it is to think that we can just scrap out fossil fuels right now at this very moment in order to solve the climate issue. With COVID, we did see proof of the restrictions and lockdown that reduced driving and cars on the road, and there was a lowering of gas emissions in the air. There are cities in the world that suddenly the air cleaned up because there was less traffic. But are we at a point where we can truly say no more gas, no more waste, no more green gas? That is not realistic. And I'd like to give, I actually discovered this today. There's a brother in Atlanta. I'm giving him free publicity. And I hope I'm not giving publicity to something that may be false, but I discovered this on Instagram. Brother Derek Bailey, who runs a group, Derek Bailey Automotive Group, I believe in Atlanta. This black brother basically is coming up with a system that can turn a fossil fuel, basically combustion car, into an electric vehicle. I just discovered this today. Don't take my word for it. I find it amazing. I hope it's true. I am not an engineer. I am just being a Pan Africanist, giving a shout out to a brother, hoping this is truthful. If it is, Brother Billy, you have my support. We need to promote our people doing great things. On Instagram, they were talking that, it's going to be the competition to Tesla. So right away, I'm like, let's keep these brothers safe because we know things can happen. So
True.
there you go. So an example here, these are things, you see, when we come here, Dr. Vibe, and the importance of your show, just as any platform that addresses Black consciousness, we need for our people to know the people who stood up for them. I gave the example of an elder sister who passed away in 2011, Wangari Maathai, and I know most of our Black people don't know about her. Yeah, she was a 2004 Nobel Peace Prize, and I think, I might be wrong, she's the only African woman. I don't want to say only Black woman, but it might also be only Black woman to have won the Nobel Peace Prize. Wangari Maathai, Maathai, from Kenya. And now I'm giving this brother discovered totally by accident on Instagram. I'm rarely on Instagram. Uh, Derek Bailey Automotive Group in Atlanta. So we need to know our people who are doing great work so that we can show support to them. We can educate ourselves better on the topic because the environment. I mean, we've all seen all those movies, Mad Max, and how do you call them? All those end of the world. It doesn't have to be the zombies. Like my daughter loves zombies. Just to let you know. So we always talking about zombies every day. I'm a new parent. Trust me.
Oh my
I'm learning.
goodness.
But no, it doesn't have to be about zombies or Walking Dead or I don't know, some dragons or apocalypse.
Hmm.
The environment is a reality, and as Black people, we have to become more and more aware and concerned because it will impact people who look like us the most
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
Africa, in the Caribbean, in Oceania, Australia, in the Pacific. We can
Ottawa, Toronto, all over the place because
all over the place.
yeah, because anything that's not a good thing usually impacts people like you and I the most a lot of the times. The disadvantaged, the marginalized.
And what is one thing that COVID taught us? I mean, it didn't teach us Black people. We knew this, the disproportionate impact it has upon Black people. Now, imagine when the air quality goes down.
Hmm.
Imagine when there's an increase of cardiovascular issues combined with, of course, conversations that are happening, such as in Ontario, healthcare at a cost.
Well, look at just a few. Was it last summer? The forest fires,
Yeah,
the effect it was causing, not just in parts of Canada, but just throughout North America.
throughout North America. Yes, yes.
And I, I don't hear too many people like us talk. We need to talk about it. Let's the environment. It's something we deal with 24/7, 52 weeks, 365 days a year.
But we have to. I mean, whether we're talking about another hurricane in Florida, there's Black people there.
Yeah.
Talking about earthquakes on the west coast of the states, there's Black people there. Are we talking about the Midwest? Are we talking about the impact right here, the derecho that can impact Ontario and Quebec? There's Black
Yeah.
people there.
Yep.
So I mean, Black people, and I support this 100%. Black people, let's spread out. Let's be on the four corners of the world. I want to hear about Black people in Mongolia and Kazakhstan, just as I want to hear about Black people in Argentina and Guatemala. Yes, Black people are everywhere, just as in 100 years or 1,000 years, there will be Black people on the star somewhere out there in the galaxy. That's universal Pan Africanism. That's what I promote. But we have to also address these topics that are less popular in our community, but ultimately impact our community that much more.
True.
The environment. Very
True.
serious, my friends. This is not some hoax or some white liberal, whatever you want to call it. This is not some, no, 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 no. We have to talk about it, my people.
Absolutely. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick break. And after our break, we're going to get into two very interesting Black men. One gentleman named Greg Fergus, who's the Speaker of the House. And also, we're going to talk about Sean Diddy Combs, two Black men, very prominent in the media. Well, Mr. Combs much more globally than Mr. Fergus, but Mr. Fergus here especially very prominent. And both of them are in a little bit of a controversy, but Mr. Combs a little bit more controversy. But we'll be back in 90 seconds. Keep it locked on Black Canada Talking.
And that's what I feel like. You feel like you're the Harry Tubman of the mind.
I
I
am.
feel like I'm the I'm one of the Harry Tubmans of intelligent Black people. Like I want to liberate y'all from like being left behind and ignored and oblivion. Now, really, the
Yeah.
rappers get all the attention. Seriously, does anybody else feel this way? Like ignorant Black people, they'll be all up, getting all the headlines on the Shade Room
Overly
and
sexualized Black
over
folks.
like the twerkers and the just people that don't always represent the best of us, the diversity, like people like Dr. Vibe. Like everybody should know about people like Dr. Vibe.
They
Dr.
really
Vibe is
should.
he's trying to do good work for Black people. Dr. Vibe from Toronto, good to see you, my brother. Dr. Vibe, everybody follow Dr. Vibe. He has a great show. He's very good at what he does, and I have a lot of respect for him. Okay, so let me hop into this. What's up, Dr. Vibe? How you doing? Everybody, if you see Dr. Vibe in the chat, everybody go follow the Dr. Vibe show. Dr. Vibe is a real smart brother and a good human being. I like the guy a lot, and he's very intelligent. And I think everyone should pay attention to what he's got going on. We got to shine the spotlight on the intelligent Black people out here that are really doing the good work. Don't just pay attention to the rappers and the celebrities. A lot of these people are losers. Your true winners are your people in your community that are really having your back. Helping us to have stronger families and a stronger community. So Dr. Vibe is in that category. So you might see the Dr. Vibe show in this chat. If you see him, please go follow him. Okay. All right. So anyway.
All right, Dr. Boyce and Dr. Alicia Watkins, big supporters of Dr. Vibe, and right back to both of them. So go check them out on their various social media platforms. We're here with Cesar, Black Canada Talking, broadcasting live December 10th. So let's talk about two Black men that are in a little bit of controversy, one more than the other. So let's take the gentleman, at least in this country, who's in a little bit of controversy. Greg Fergus, first Black man to be nominated and elected and appointed as Speaker of the House of Commons. And Cesar, I had no idea about this story, but definitely it needs to be talked about. So give it to us.
So, first of all, I must state this. I support our brother, Greg Fergus. He has supported me. He has supported me in my evolution, notably as a community leader. So I state this from the start so that nobody either finds anything I say surprising or discovers later and claim any hypocrisy here. He knows he has my support. Now, as I say this, he made an error. We can support our people and still say our people made an error. He should not have done this video recording that played at an event for another MP of his party. Interestingly, MP John Fraser is the MP of the riding Ottawa South where I grew up. I know both MPs. Now that I've said that, I also support him in this error that he made. And the reason that I support him, he apologized, he expressed regrets, and yet here we are finding some MPs, notably of the opposition, still wanting for him to step down. Basically, saying that he should resign. And one of those MPs is a certain Andrew Scheer. I think most of our people in Canada do recall that Mr. Andrew Scheer is a former conservative leader, aka the official opposition party. So then one might wonder, how is Cesar supporting Greg Fergus, Speaker of the House, and yet showing him support in the criticism against him? This is really what it is about talking about racism in politics in Canada. This is a conversation about assimilation. This is a conversation about how when a Black person does wrong, they need to be punished that much further. Help me, work with me here as I'm going to go here. Andrew Scheer, the former conservative leader, wants for Mr. Greg Fergus, Speaker of the House, first Black Speaker of the House, a historic moment, to resign over a video for which he apologized, where he showed support to another Liberal MP, aka his party, before he became Speaker of the House. For those who don't understand, when you become Speaker of the House, you are to be neutral to all parties. There cannot be affiliation in terms of preferences, aka allegiance to one party over another. So this is why Greg Fergus did wrong. And when I say Greg Fergus, Speaker Greg Fergus, aka non-party affiliated. That's where he did wrong. That's why he apologized. He thought the video was going to be played for something small, intimate, etc. And he did stress the fact that, I mean, as a long-time liberal, since, I don't know, he's a teenager or involved in politics, as a long-time liberal, he's friend with John Fraser. You see? So it's a very understandable error. So why am I talking about racism in politics? Is it because Greg Fergus is a black man, and as I said, I support him, he has supported me? Well, no. How do we explain that the former conservative leader, so not just an MP, former conservative leader of the opposition party, Andrew Scheer, wants for Greg Fergus to resign, and yet, where was Andrew Scheer to want the resignation of Mr. Pierre Poilievre, who came out openly in support of the freedom, as a black man, I don't call them freedom, D-O-M, freedom, D-U-M-B, truckers, as Mr. Pierre Poilievre very openly was in support of those truckers who went in front of Parliament Hill, occupied that space for 3 weeks, beginning of 2022, last year, and wanted the fallout of the government. Some of them calling for, even, if I recall, I don't want to make claims that are false. If I recall, some of them wanted the head of the Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. 3 weeks, an illegal occupation of downtown, which is now in court in Ottawa. Where was Mr. Andrew Scheer asking for the resignation of the current leader of the Conservative Party, Pierre Poilievre, who openly supported a sedition movement, an insurrectionist movement, the Canadian version of January 6th movement?
Yeah.
This is racism in politics. This is what happens with assimilation, where you got to work that much harder when you're black, and you got to make sure that you don't make any faux pas, any misstep. And if you dare to do the slightest thing wrong, it is blown out of proportion, worse than the white person who has done so much worse than you. Can you imagine if the 3 weeks of the Freedom Truckers, first of all, we can't even imagine that there would be black Freedom Truckers, because they wouldn't have made it to downtown Ottawa. But even if they were, can you imagine what would have happened to any black politician who would have gone there publicly showing them support to a movement, an organization that wants the fallout of the government, that is calling for the death, the assassination of the Prime Minister of the country? This is what I'm talking about.
Well, and I think it's amplified to Greg Fergus being a black man.
Of course.
Right? Let's, a black man in that position, and as you said, it's an interesting comparison. Pierre Poilievre, leader of the PCM. I'm just talking politics. I have no affiliation here, but here's someone that supported some individuals that wanted to overthrow government.
Overthrow the government?
Yeah, that's a little bit out of line, but I guess they're looking for any opportunity to take a black man down.
I mean, We were talking last time, I believe, about, I may get her name wrong, an MPP, member of provincial
Yes, from
parliament,
the Ontario NDP party.
I believe
Yes,
Sarah Jama,
yes,
who is being pushed to resign and ended up being kicked out of a party
yes,
for showing support to the Palestinian cause,
yeah,
where the latest numbers speak of over 17,000 dead in Gaza in response to 1,200 Israeli dead. For anyone wanting to put me aside, I'm neither pro-Palestinian nor pro-Israeli. I'm pro-black. But Sarah Jama also has Palestinian family. So can you be surprised? Forget that to call her pro-Palestinian. Forget that she has Palestinian family. Her outrage at the deaths and the position of Canada, which by the way has evolved since then, for Canada now calls for a ceasefire. So was she wrong? I say she wasn't. So when it's a black person, you see the very nature of racism in politics.
yeah,
The punishment for that black person to dare to step out of the carefully crafted lines. So here, to me, it's a beautiful example, and I can't help but to mention Mr. Andrew Scheer in terms of political hypocrisy. Andrew Scheer, where are you to call out Mr. Pierre Poilievre, the current leader of your party? He is proud. He doesn't even hide it. He is proud to have supported the Freedom Truckers for political gains. And I really say for political gains because we know 100% that if he was the prime minister as he aims to become in 2025, there is no way that Pierre Poilievre would let a 3 weeks occupation of downtown Ottawa by some truckers, whether it be over COVID, vaccine, or anything else. And we know 100% well that there is no prime minister in Canada, notably conservative, who would allow a 3 week occupation of downtown Ottawa in front of the parliament by a bunch of black freedom truckers, by a bunch of Muslim freedom truckers, by a bunch of LGBTQ truckers, by a bunch of women truckers. We can't imagine such a thing other than for white privilege. Men, just as January 6th in the United States. So, yes, Greg Fergus did wrong. He made an error. He apologized for it. He explained the context of the error. I forgive him. I don't forgive him just because he's black. I forgive him because his error made sense. I understand him. Oh,
oh, there's your friend. There's our friend. Hey, there she is.
she came to show me her new doll and she's saying hi. Oh, that's a beautiful doll. Hmm?
Nice.
Yeah, and
Nice.
she's black. She's beautiful, man. Hmm? That's how you black and proud?
She has braids.
She has braids. Very important. That's beautiful. Ok. Bien, bien. Papa parle avec Dr. Vibe. Tu vas voir maman? Hein? Ok, ferme la porte. Bisous. Bye bye. Oh, sorry.
It's okay.
Mwah. Ok. Ok. Bye bye, yum yum. Thank you.
That was beautiful. That's the most special moment I've ever experienced with you on this show.
Yes.
I'm gonna keep that moment for a long time, my brother.
I didn't hear her coming up.
Well, I heard someone in the back. Oh, yeah, I go. Oh, we got a new co-host. Oh God.
Yeah. No,
So,
but I mean, I'm glad. I know she went. My wife took her. Her mama took her shopping for a new doll, and
Okay.
we very much stress the importance of black dolls and representation. And of course, as we live in we live in a diverse, multicultural neighborhood, but still overwhelmingly white. Barbie, blonde hair, blue eyed. So, we always look for the black Barbie. And That's what she wants. And she even noticed herself, and that's what she said. She got braids. So yes, absolutely. But yeah, no,
Okay,
regarding what we were
circle
just
back.
saying,
Yeah.
yeah, regarding what we were just saying, yes, Speaker Greg Fergus, brother Greg Fergus, he made an error. He apologized. He explained the context of the error, but to call out for his resignation as if it's something so like it's political gains. It's kind of like uh, in French we say coup bas, below the belt, unnecessary hitting. That's what it is. So
Okay. Well, as I said, I wasn't even aware of this situation till you brought it to my attention. So I'm gonna have to pay a little more attention to the news. But I think it sounds like he'll overcome this.
yes, I strongly. I mean, I did check with some of my community leaders who are notably involved, in the Labour Party, and they told me, yeah, no, he will survive this. I mean,
Hopefully, lesson learned.
hopefully, lesson learned. But at the same time, I refuse. I mean, society forces us to hold our Black people to higher scrutiny and higher expectations. But I refuse to continue that game of assimilation that basically make it that we expect the next George Floyd. Meanwhile, whites can't imagine a white George Floyd, especially a white George Floyd at the hand of a black cop.
Okay. Let's move to a gentleman that's even in more controversy south of the border. Sean Diddy Combs, history of controversy and legal trouble. And for those who have been paying attention to the news, P. Diddy or Sean, whatever he's called these days, number of sexual allegations been labeled against him. There's so much stuff coming up recently on Sean P. Diddy Combs. What are your thoughts on all of this, Cesar?
Uh it's uh it's an unpleasant and difficult take. And I say this with solidarity to our sisters who are victims, because on one side it's a bit ironic, one wants to come with, referring to P. Diddy, Sean Diddy, Puffy Combs, um, body of work, aka more money, more problems, aka can't stop, won't stop, aka nobody can hold me down. But look, there is not enough black male solidarity to put in contrast the fact that effectively we shouldn't believe someone just because they say, because there are false allegations, and we know black men have been victims of false allegations. I am a black man who has faced false allegations,
Mm-hmm.
as you know, Dr. Vibe.
Yep.
So that is one thing. But on the other side, we also have to be honest. Black man, white man, it could be a woman, even though it's rare, but yeah, it could be a woman. When there is an accumulation of allegations, an accumulation of victims, claimed victims coming forward, an accumulation of disturbing behaviors, and in the case of Sean Diddy Combs, there are also other black men who are coming forward and saying the brother misbehaves a lot. That becomes a problem. So this is not something in terms of this billionaire, rich and famous black man being attacked by all these women. No, there are black men who are saying, hey, listen, the brother does not behave well towards women and towards men. Whether he's whether it's attacking people, making threats, apparently blowing up someone's car. What's going on here? This is like
Cesar,
this is barely the movie.
Can I just interrupt you for a second? If you're watching this live on the replay, and unfortunately if you're listening to this on replay, there's a great article here from the Root, and they have a slideshow, so I'm just going to read through some of it, and we'll continue on. Cesar can continue on with his commentary. So you see the slide here in 1997, East Coast, West Coast rap food. If you're watching this live on the replay, there's a picture of Sean Diddy Combs and Notorious B.I.G. And I'm going to read the caption underneath. In the mid-1990s, rap music was dominated by the ongoing feud by East Coast and West Coast artists, specifically Bad Boy and Death Row. Insults and diss tracks went back and forth as the tension rose to a dangerous level. Unfortunately, it reached a tragic peak with the murder of Tupac Shakur and Notorious B.I.G., two of the most influential artists in music history. Diddy has never been arrested, charged, or credibly connected to either attack, but that hasn't stopped controversy theories continuing to suggest he was somehow involved. Let's go to I'll go to another slide here. Nas. The assault of Steve Stout. The controversial video for his song with Nas, Hate Me Now, features a scene of the two men crucified on the cross with crowns of thorns. Diddy decided the scene was blasphemous and wanted it cut from the video, but the unedited version was aired on MTV. In response, the Harlem Native went to the office of then President Interscope Records, Steve Stout, and assaulted him with, quote, a chair, a telephone, and a champagne bottle, unquote. He pled guilty to a reduced charge and was sentenced to 1 day of anchor management. So there you go. 1999, arrested alongside Jennifer Lopez.
The firearm incident.
Yes, when attending a New York nightclub with then girlfriend Jennifer Lopez, a shooting at the club caused chaos. Later that night, the couple and two other passengers were stopped by police and ended up charged with, quote, charged with criminal possession of a weapon and possession of stolen property. J-Lo, whose movie Clear was just taking off, found herself connected to Combs' highly publicized criminal trial, and the couple eventually broke up. Puff Daddy was not found guilty and changed his name to P. Diddy. There's more, folks. Gotta go through some more. 2003, Sean John labor controversy. In 2003, a report revealed that Sean John workers in a Honduras factory were essentially dealing with sweatshop conditions. Sean John executives, including Combs, said they didn't know about the problems but would work to fix them. We got more. 2005, Diddy name lawsuit. When P. Diddy became Diddy, he forgot to ask around. As it turned out, Richard Diddy Dearlove, a producer in the United Kingdom, was already using the name. After a legal battle, there was a £100,000 settlement in September 2006, and he must remain P. Diddy in the UK. Have some more. 2005, alleged Rogelio Mills assault. Detroit talk show host Rogelio Mills alleged that Diddy and his entourage assaulted him in 1999 after he asked about the producer's role in the Biggie's death. The jury ruled in favor of Combs, a decision upheld on appeal. I don't know how many more slides are here. 2005, the Locks go rogue at Hot 97. The Locks got into it with Diddy about his mistreatment of artists and his refusal to return their publishing rights. The moment went down on New York's Hot 97, cementing the claims that he didn't fairly compensate Bad Boy artists. Even though they eventually settled the dispute, the reputation for being a predatory record executive follows Diddy to this day. Like, there's so many. I just want to see if there's anything else. Like, fight with Kid Cudi, 2012. In light of Cassie's allegations, this is particularly disturbing. In November 2012, the two rappers reportedly got in a fight over the singer in a Hollywood club. Rumors say, quote, they exchanged heated words to a point where the entire club was watching, creating a huge scene. So obviously we need to go back then because 2007, sued for allegedly ordering a promoter's assault. A nightclub promoter sued Coming Home rapper for $4 million, claiming Diddy had his bodyguard forcibly remove the promoter. He alleged his was punch kicked. That's bad grammar. He alleged his was punch kicked and chased around the club. So as you can see, folks, Mr. Combs has not avoided controversy. Again, alleged assaults of son's football coach, sexual assault alleged. Mays accuses Diddy of unfair compensation. Diddy against Diageo. This was just this year. After building extremely successful Ciroc vodka and De Leon tequila brands, Diddy accused distributor Diageo of racism, alleging they didn't offer the same resources to Black-owned brands that they did others. In response, Diageo ended its business partnership with Combs As this dispute has dragged on, Diddy has used social media to throw shade by complimenting their other spirit brands. So, like other things that Cassie. So we'll end it with here. So Cassie files a lawsuit alleging rape, domestic violence. This one was interesting. Cassie Ventura, that was this year, shocked the world when she filed a bombshell lawsuit accusing the mogul of, quote, years of physical abuse, unquote, rape, sexual assault, and sexual battery. The details behind their 11-year relationship are extremely disturbing. Combs' lawyers claim the lawsuit is about money, but there may be allegations a billionaire can't make go away. And I think that within days of this lawsuit, I was told it was settled. There we go. Settled.
Like a $30 million settlement?
Yeah, a day after Cassie filed the lawsuit, Combs settled with his ex. Details of the suit were not disclosed, but Cassie said in a statement, quote, I've decided to resolve this matter amicably on terms that I have some level of control. I want to thank my family, fans, and lawyers for their unwavering support, unquote. Quote, we have decided to resolve this matter amicably. I wish Cassie and her family all the best, Combs said in a statement. So, and there's more allegations that have come out, more sexual assault allegations, so it hasn't stopped.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll stop there.
And I personally, those who are hip hop heads,
No problem. We'll be ending in a few months because the boss of the house wants you.
Those who are hip hop heads will remember two names. I will let people discover, and because me personally, as a teenager from the 90s, Craig Mack,
yes,
and Shine.
Flavor in your ear.
There you go. Craig Mack and Shine. That's basically, to me, and I mean, we can even talk about Black Rob, before he died.
Yeah.
Black Rob, whoa, brought so much money and, to Bad Boy, and yet Black Rob died poor.
Yeah.
At the hospital. So what I'm saying is, you will never see me jumping on the bandwagon of guilting a man not to be a black man just in the name of allegations, as I know the weight that can come with false allegations. 100%. But as I'm saying, and you went through a history.
Yeah, and I didn't get through everything.
I mean, we have to be honest with one another. It's not just women. Most of the names that you mentioned were from men.
Yes.
Other men saying this brother misbehaves.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what do we say? What do we do? And at the same time, there is a logic that says you don't just, even if you're a billionaire, you don't just give away $30 million, allegedly. Obviously, I can't say for sure. I'm not privy to these communications, but allegedly, you don't just give away $30 million as a settlement to an ex who would make a false accusation.
Yeah, there you go.
Truth.
Follow the money.
Truth. You see what I mean? It's not even that what Cassie said is all truthful, but even just some truth. And some people talk about, what about the previous ex, aka and mother of his kids, Kim Porter? There's so much. I don't know. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that we see so many brothers, black men, in my case, older than me as well, whether it's Bill Cosby, whether it be the king of R&B, R. Kelly, and now we see P. Diddy falling in disgrace. But the problem is not that they're falling in disgrace because they're black men, because there are black people who are coming and saying, this brother has misbehaved. Eventually it becomes difficult to deny or to just put it all under the claim of racism or under the claim of sexism, or even some black women will hate him because he's a black. No. I give a perfect example. And this one, he's not in jail, but a certain man by the name of Clarence Thomas, he still became Supreme Court judge, but Anita Hill was telling us, I was a kid, in the early 90s that this man sexually assaulted her. And we saw the politics that he came to protect.
Yeah. Well,
the politics he came to stand for. So, I mean,
I just
honestly,
want to show the final slide here. It says fallout from lawsuit. So, with his reputation damaged by these accusations, Diddy is now dealing with the fallout of the allegations. He recently stepped down as chairman of Revolt TV, while
yeah.
Capital Preparatory Schools has ended its partnership with the Bad Boy founder. It remains seen what other corporations and entities will cut, or it remains to be seen what other corporations or entities will cut ties with Combs.
And in the name of publicity and marketing, sometimes it's not about allegations being truthful, but the rumor and the scandal of it, especially when there's an accumulation. And just as you did with this article of The Root, like you go far back enough, it's again and again and again and again. And I mean, the common denominator to all of these scandals and issues become that one man. And me, I just gave 3 simple examples. I'm not even accusing P. Diddy. I'm not even giving the name of a woman here.
Mm-hmm.
But black man to black man. I said Craig Mack. I said Shine. I said Black Rob. I can't trust the brother. Like what? I'm supposed to be number 4? Imagine if I were a rapper. Wait, Craig Mack, Shine, Black Rob? Who am I that you're going to treat me differently?
Yeah.
I mean, we can add loons or whatever. Like, people can put many names. But these are just the 3 names by which me, as a young brother who was a teenager in the 90s, who happened to be there in 1995 when hip-hop went global. 1995, that's the year hip-hop went global. Become a global music genre. Biggie was rapping that hip-hop wouldn't go this far, and hip-hop became global. Tupac and Biggie are the first 2 global stars of hip-hop, just as Michael Jordan brought basketball to a global stage. Sorry for the LeBron fans, and by the way, congrats to LeBron for winning.
Winning that championship last night.
Ring number 5, all pun intended, of course.
Yeah.
But for me, as I see this, from the 90s to now, Craig Mack, Shine, Black Rob, what do they have in common? I mean, yeah, Shine now he's a politician. He became a politician back home in his country, but that jail sentence he spent, he wasn't the one who committed the crime. It wasn't him. So it's very unfortunate, very, very unfortunate.
Yeah. I don't think we've heard the last of this. I think it's going to be ongoing big time. Well,
but this is a reminder. Last thing, if you don't mind me saying, Dr. Vibe.
Yeah.
It's a reminder to our Black people. And you heard me say this, and I keep saying it. Entertainment is the number 1 cancer of the Black community. We are not to look at entertainers. I mean, there are great entertainers. There are entertainers who are also activists, 100%. But Black parents, educate your children. Stand up for your children. Advocate for your children. It's not he or she they see on TV, whether rapping, twerking, or playing ball, that's supposed to be the role model.
Okay. All right.
We have enough role model in our history books among great kings and queens, great activists, men as women, great role models. And you, the parent, the Black parent, have to be present physically, mentally, intellectually, spiritually, and emotionally for our children, so that basically, we can make the distinction: entertainer, Black family, Black community.
Absolutely. Well, Cesar, thank you for taking the time as always. The boss of the house, I'm sure, is waiting for you so much. She bull rushed our conversation in a good way today. How can people get in touch with you, sir?
Email, but best way, reach me out on Facebook, Cesar Ndema-Moussa, as you see at the bottom of the screen.
All right. Well, thank you as always. I hopefully will be on one more time before the end of the year. But if we are not, we want to wish you and your family all the best for the rest of this year and looking forward to continue it on to next year. And don't just manage your time, manage energy. And remember to give yourself grace, my brother, and enjoy the boss of the house. Go
Thank
to her
you.
now.
I see you before the end of the year, my brother.
Absolutely. Keep the
Oh,
faith.
Dr. Vibe, Dr.
Oh,
Vibe,
yes,
you forgot
yes.
to mention something. Thursday.
I can't
Thursday?
make it Thursday. I told Ketcha that it's the other Thursday, but I got a messenger. So it would happen. It is going to happen before the end of the year.
I will be there because I sent you a message that this Thursday I wouldn't be out of office.
I can't make it. I gave her the date, but I'm going to message her tonight. By the way, before we go, your number one fan, Michelle Baptiste, says, great show.
Thank you,
says,
Michelle.
Cesar rocks. And she told me offline, says, the next time he's in town, I've got to meet Cesar. So we got to make that happen. And have a good training this week, by the way, too.
Thank you.
All the best. Take care, my brother. Take care. All right. That is good. And Cesar rocked the house as usual. He rocked the house as usual, family. He rocked the house as usual. So a few things before we close up here today. And thanks, Michelle, and those who watch live on the replay. Always remember, please subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube and hit the notification button. Also follow the Dr. Vibe Show on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Also, if you want to advertise your business, product, or service on any of the platforms I host, please feel free to email me, dr.vibe@the.drvibeshow.com. You can watch replays of this epic conversation called Black Hannah Talking on the Dr. Vibe Show website, the drvibeshow.com, or on the Dr. Vibe platforms on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. So that's it. That's a wrap. I want to say thanks, everyone, for watching live on the replay or listening on the replay. And we'll finish off with this. Live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get small to get stronger. Block assumptions and aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. Remember to give yourself grace and don't just manage your time. Manage your energy. God bless. Peace well. Keep the faith and walk good.
Yeah.